thank you for those of us who have joined since the break or have stayed with us through the break and all that stuff. So this is the second block. And again, I'm Joel from Voluntary Action Swindon, and we're hosting, this is the first ever Swindon VX, trying to, with two aims really. One is to help some collaboration across the voluntary sector, and primarily to enable the voluntary sector to share what it's doing with key services, and particularly statutory services, healthcare and social services across Swindon, so that everyone knows what we're doing really, and hopefully we're going to be talking about our referral pathways and areas that we can even expand and develop and provide more services. So we got 4 more speakers in the next slot, and that will be it for today. And so without further ado, I would like to introduce Dawn Prosser from Renew Men's Shed. Dawn, over to you.
Hi, morning. Good to see you all. Okay, I'm going to try and share my screen first. Hold on a minute. Oh, yeah. I did try earlier. Can everybody see that?
Yeah, it's coming through.
That's
it. I've got it.
Got it. Okay, so that's who we are. Renew Men's Shed. We've been around since 2017. We had a shed, and then we've been moving around ever since, and we are now in PENHILL. So I'll tell you a little bit more. So first of all, let's start from the beginning. What is a men's shed? So they're similar to garden sheds, so that you can pursue practical interests at leisure, practice skills, enjoy making and mending. The difference between garden sheds and other activities are often there you do it on your own, while men's sheds are the opposite. They're about social connections, friendship building, sharing skills and knowledge, and of course, hopefully lots of laughter and cake. So we are part of the UK Men's Shed Association, and there are at the moment 600 men's sheds in the UK. There are 150 in development, and about 14,500 estimated families benefiting directly. It's something that came across from Australia. They found out that that really helped prevent poor mental health, and so they were looking at particularly an issue for guys at the time, and so that's why we started that up. We mainly started it up as well because we used to run Gateway Furniture. We were the founders of Gateway Furniture. We were providing furniture to people in need, and we saw lots of people as well that didn't have a fire label on the chair, or it was all scratched brown furniture, and here was an opportunity to save it from landfill. So why are they needed? Well, feeling lonely in itself isn't a mental health issue, but the two are strongly linked. So having a mental health issue increases your chance of feeling lonely, and feeling lonely can have a negative impact on your mental health, and we've all sort of known that in this last year with COVID. So I had some research that's a couple of years old now, but its research shows that lacking social connections is a comparable risk factor for early death of smoking 15 cigarettes a day, and it's worse for us than things like obesity and physical inactivity, and it increases the likelihood of death by 26%. So you can see there, and so the bit at the bottom, the Royal Voluntary Sector also published research that showed following retirement, a third of men avoided socialising altogether, 45% that they only socialise once or twice a month, 20% claimed, or 21% claimed they would socialise more if they had a group to go to where they could learn a new skill, 80% they would prefer to socialise around a common interest, and nearly 40% that they would feel more comfortable going to a menu. So that's the reason why we have a men's shed. So the vision of Renew is to work in partnership with other organisations to achieve a closer, stronger community in Swindon, free of loneliness, isolation and poor mental health, through the provision of welcoming, supportive spaces to pursue practical activities. I've got lots of photos you'll be glad to know in a minute. So our purpose is to promote and facilitate mental well-being by providing welcoming, safe environments where people can connect, to be with others, to be active, to learn some new skills, to share knowledge and to give to others. And we do that through renewing, repairing and reusing materials which would otherwise go to landfill. Our aim is to provide a workshop and social centre for members to help them maintain their health and well-being, make new friends and enjoy working together on a range of projects, and to assist the local community and charities in practical ways wherever possible. So what do? Here's some of the things that we do. So we make things from wood. We've been making reindeer. We've been doing things with, as you can see, we've done little dog signs, which went really well. And the little key holder there was something we did with Swindon carers. We had a guys, male carers came and did a group, and then the female carers wanted to have a go at woodwork. So we did that, and we gave them a little course, and we had people that wouldn't normally do any woodwork at all, and we helped them get them some woodwork skills. We new pallets. You can see there we made a bench, some boxes and bits and pieces, and a wine rack. We had a shop just for a year, and that's it. That went into the shop. And we also renew furniture. This is Slim, who I'll talk about in a minute. And this is a prayer chair. It's an antique chair. It was in a right mess. It was in one of the legs where all that barley twist was, had a big chunk out of it. We had to shape some wood and re-put that in there. We did traditional upholstery. And you can see the result on the right. So that's it is over 100 years old. It's a prayer chair, and it's been completely traditionally reupholstered. Some of the other things we've done, you can see what they looked like before, and then made them into some funky colours there. We painted the chair on the right, and then upholstered it, and then we made that bar stool, and then got some very funky material on that. About renewed purpose and belonging. This again is Slim. He's happy for me to show you these. So he came. He was in and out of hospital. He basically hadn't gone out for months. He couldn't get out at all, and he was referred by the hospital. And he said, I was referred to Renew by the hospital. They were well pleased with my progress since coming to the shed. It's done me a power of good, to be honest. My wife can vouch for that. I've come on leap and bounds to what I was a while back. And we've had he's been whizzing around everywhere, obviously, before COVID. He used to come 2 or 3 times a week. About learning skills. So back when we were in the shop, we did a whole load of things about all sorts of bits and pieces there. But we still do the painting workshops. About crafting. So we're hoping to go back into the new venue and do some crafting. We did some quilting and some signs there. And we also had children's holiday activities where we were before, which we're hoping to do again there. That is a 5-year-old did that stone, and all it is decoupage. It's a napkin which we painted the stone, and then she just used special stuff and then put it on the napkin and smoothed it over, and it looks like she'd painted it on. And we made pizza, of course. We're also an official stockist of FRENCHIC chalk paint. And that is transformations that people have done locally with their, so that our local customers, we're the stockist of. It's a national chalk paint. It's got no added chemicals. It's child safe. You can put it on child's toys. And so that's some of the transformations our local customers have done with the paint and used it. And we use that, any profit we make from that, we then use to start again. Any thing we do for the paint, then we use that to help keep the project going. And then we also, I think I told you about that earlier, that we do Swindon carers. So we did Swindon carers. We did all these ladies who'd not used a drill or anything before, and helped them make a whole load of items. So that's some of the things that we've been doing up before COVID. We also got runner-up Shed of the Year from the UK Men's Shed Association. So there was 4 or 5 of us that got that, and then there was a Shed of the Year. So we got that back in 2019. So we've moved. We are now got a home, and that home is in Chippenham Close, which is in Lower PENHILL. It's the community centre. It was not used for 5 years. It was in a right state, and we transformed it over the period of a few months. Painted it all up, got it all sorted. As you can see there, we can use that for hiring out now, which you couldn't do that before. It's got a lovely space there, and we've got a workshop on the left, and we've changed that all into movable benches, and we've got a wood workshop and a door now that's been built across. Which we then can use, so we can shut it off and still hire out the room.
1 minute, please, Dawn.
Oh, right. During lockdown, we've been doing a food parcel service. Oh dear, I didn't want that. Right. Okay. So, if you want to ask about that, so if people are finding things to stretch, and then there was an opportunity to come down on a Friday between 1:30. That's some of the food that we've been giving out and some of the parcels. And that's with Night Shelter. So Night Shelter have been doing that. And we have a planned activity to go back in May for men's woodwork, upholstery, which is led by a professional upholsterer. Our food parcel service will continue for the moment. And we have extra workshops in May because we're helping a new group called the Swindon Hub. And we're going to be upcycling tables and chairs and doing some mobile shop display units for them. So we have a full schedule for May and June. The costs are just £5 for those who aren't a member, or £10 if it's an all-day workshop, which is much cheaper than if they come to learn upcycling normally. If you want to become a shedder, it's £30 for the year, and then £3 a session, or you just pay £10 per month and come along as you like. If finance is an issue, come and talk to us if we've got options available. And we've got some other bits coming up, which is CAP. So that's what we'll be doing, CAP. But there's craft clubs, sewing and art, all that sorts of stuff, and a clothing pop-up shop. With Night Shelter, and that is our information. Right, there you go. Oh dear.
Thank you very much, Dawn. Fantastic presentation. And as always, these contact details and other ways to refer into the services will be on the Swindon VX directory. If you're an organisation who hasn't put your entry in yet, I've sent you the link, so do that as soon as you can, because that's where people will be going. But thanks, Dawn, and we're gonna have a few more minutes. So any questions? I've got Joanne with a hand up. Jo, is that for a question for Dawn?
Yes, please. Hi, Dawn. I used to refer patients to Men's Shed when Chris Chidsey ran it, specifically for stroke patients.
Oh yeah, hold on 2 seconds. Let me just get rid of this. Let me just get rid of my sharing. Here we go. Yes, so we took on, Swindon Men's Shed, Chris Chidsey did Swindon Men's Shed, but Chris Chidsey lost his building and he couldn't do it anymore. So we've incorporated all the stroke survivors into our shed. So it's one shed now. So Swindon Men's Shed and Renew Men's Shed is all one, and we're all up at PENHILL.
So there's nothing specific just for stroke patients as it was originally.
Well, originally we had because Jim took it on as well, but Jim's had to move away. So yes, we are going to look at doing that. So if you're wanting stuff particularly for stroke, do you know what I mean, just so they work together without, because at the moment they can still carry on and join us. If they're wanting again some specifically for, because what we tend to do is they tend to work together, and that's why they couldn't work in COVID, because they tend to work with one have a stroke on one arm and one on the other. Then they used to work together and do stuff.
Okay, I think this isn't a negative, but as a referrer of patients into that service, we hadn't heard that it was back up and running.
It's not yet until May.
And a lot of stroke patients have got the added difficulty of severe aphasia and communication difficulties, and so we used to often do some joint sessions with Chris. And I think for stroke patients, there's the wider community about all working together, and then there's coming to terms with their own disability but still feeling valuable, and that's why Men's Shed was so valuable, and it was one of the only places we could actually refer patients that was just stroke specific. So I would definitely be interested, as would our speech and language therapist here, in sort of finding out a little bit more about how specifically stroke patients, because I know there was no transport provided previously, so patients have to make their own way there and then be collected and dropped off. And it was great that the stroke patients had a bit of camaraderie, and they would help each other out, and maybe one of the wives would drop two of them off and then pick them up. But to be a stroke specific element, to perhaps just even one of the days, I'd be really keen to find out a bit more about that.
Okay, no, that'll be good, because we didn't take it over till November, and of course then COVID hit, so we stopped in February. So
and
we just got it going, and then so we just haven't got that far yet. We just let's get back. We just heard that
they were moving venues, and we weren't. So that's really great to know that you're back up and running.
That's
I'll talk to you about that, about what and then I'll see if one of the others might want to come on board as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to just take a very quick one from Melanie before we move on. Thanks for that. Melanie.
Dawn, hello. I'm very interested in hearing about the men's shed. Can I just ask, are the men's activities men-led or is that led by a woman?
No, it's led by a man. It's led by Kevin. Yeah, it's led by my husband. So yeah, he does the men's woodwork sessions. Yeah. So
Okay, that's brilliant.
The upholstery is a mixed session and it's led by a lady, our upholsterer. But no, the men's woodwork is led by men, and so was the stroke one. So.
Okay, no, that's brilliant, because obviously we do have some vulnerable young men in this area, but obviously I'm looking to if we can support them by guiding them to yourselves, and as long as they know perhaps it's a man that's leading it instead of women, that could also build up their confidence. So thank you very much for that.
So Melanie, so which organisation are you coming from?
I'm from Shopping Cavendish Square. We're a local charity.
Excellent. Thanks very much. Okay, and thanks, Dawn. I know you're fitting this in between different other things of your busy agenda, so I really appreciate you coming along. Thanks for the presentation. As I say, once we get your listing up on the VX directory, then